Hello, welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup Podcast, Episode 13. I'm your host, Tommy. I'm joined by Murphy this week.
Hello.
What's going on?
Not much. I spent the day at Three Rivers Comic Con.
Yeah, so our main topic today is going to be comic book investing. Is it for you? Basically, going with the ins and outs of comic book investing compared to other investments and the pros and the cons. And Murphy has been going through selling a collection or helping sell someone's collection and going to talk about that experience. But before we hop into that, I want to talk about our 200 sub giveaway. Murphy, do you want to tell our friends and subscribers what they can win and how they can enter the contest?
Yeah, so for our 200 sub giveaway, we'll be giving a 9.8 CGC graded King in Black #1. It's a variant. It's one of the premier variants, so it's half sketch, half regular cover, and it is signed by Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman. In order to enter, all you have to do is live in the U.S. and comment on any of our comic book related videos, whether it be the top fives, comment, your top 5 pick for that week or what you're interested in. And at 200 subscriptions, we'll be putting a bunch of ducks across the screen and
making them race and figuring out who wins this book.
And figuring it out who wins.
Cool. So make sure you go do that. And next up, I want to talk about some games I played this week. So before we dive too deep into comics, I want to talk about some card stuff. I played 2 classic constructed Flesh and Blood events. The first on Thursday, just an armory. Top 8 in that with a Briar Earth deck. Very built around Zach Bunn's list from Team Covenant. It's a lot of fun. The downside is when you don't draw Channel Mount Heroic, it struggles. So, and I'll get into that because I also went to a ProQuest yesterday on Saturday and just almost made top 8. I was 1 win away, but couldn't pull it through. I started off against a Dash, won that game. And then I went up against a Viserai, won that game. And then I went up against 2 Chains, my worst matchup, lost both of those. I almost won the second one, which I was surprised by. But good games. And then, so we went into the 5th round, and I was like, all right, if I win this, I'll still top 8, and there's still a chance. But unfortunately, I was drawing and not finding my Channel Mount Heroics. For some reason, this deck is built to find them, and it just did not happen. And then on a very crucial turn, I drew all 3 of them in a Ravenous Rabble. So it felt bad. Because when you have all 3 in your hand, you can't do it. It doesn't work. What was that?
So that's no good.
No. So that felt bad. So I lost that one. I ended 2 and 3, but still felt good. Still had fun. Still enjoyed the deck. The deck is a high roll deck. It either goes off or it doesn't. And that's card games. It was fun. Had a good time. 3 of our locals made the top 8. So very excited for them. Very happy that we did our best to defend our home turf. Say it that way. And yeah. Looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to this new set. Uprising. Super exciting. Very cool stuff. Fire Ninja. Draconic Ninja. Draconic Illusionist. Cool stuff. What have you been reading?
Oh, man. So, I finished Invincible.
Cool.
Then, now, just for the purposes of being fresh for catching up on Ghost Cage, I'm rereading all of East of West.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, it's only 45 issues.
No, it's not like you're reading
really
Invincible.
Reasonable read. I did Invincible 144 issues in 3 days. Granted, I had COVID and I could have the time.
Yeah.
But like 45 issues reasonably I can get through in, 2
a weekend,
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm rereading that.
Cool.
Just read the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah, I just picked
Um,
that up yesterday, so I'm gonna need to read that.
it still doesn't explain much, but
Dang it.
it's still good. I like it. I
Okay.
love the John Romita art.
Okay.
John Romita Jr.
Cool.
I love having his art back.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so recently I've just been catching up on, not even catching up, rereading old stuff,
Right. Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
on the list for this weekend is just more, catching up on current stuff, but like the big stuff, but a lot of smaller independent stuff that I just haven't gotten into
Right.
recently.
That makes sense.
What about you? What do you got?
Well, I
Have
got
you
up to
had
Devil's Reign
time?
and Daredevil. I was
Mm-hmm.
reading some Hulk. I read the first volume of Berserker,
Oh yeah, I
which
like it.
it's fine.
I'm gonna keep
It's
pulling it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fine. Um Thank goodness for Matt Kent, I guess. He's probably doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. It
Yeah,
seems, because it's written by Keanu Reeves, but uh, with the assistance of Matt Kent. So Matt Kent is co-writing
obviously,
it, but I think it is, yeah.
they have somebody,
Give him a helping hand.
to
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
But honestly, I like it.
Yeah.
I
No, it's
mean,
fine. It's interesting.
I
The
would
whole
love to see it
immortal
be a
aspect of
Keanu
it.
Reeves movie or
Yeah.
a show.
Oh,
I think it would be.
I could see it
I
being
think
a
it could
movie.
be. I think it could be a movie better than a show.
Maybe what he does
Um,
after he finishes John Wick stuff. I could see it.
well, Tommy,
What?
they should never finish John Wick.
So they'll just run in line in parallel.
John Wick needs to be the next Fast and Furious.
It
To
just
me,
doesn't know when to stop.
like it never stop it. Like it's so good. Like they really built a world in that,
Yeah,
in
that's
that
fair.
series.
That's fair.
But no, I mean I like it a lot. It does seem like the character seems to lack a little bit when it comes to like any sort of real development. Because
Yeah.
what we've
Right.
got 5,
Yeah.
6 issues, and you don't know really shit
Right.
about the character. It just
Which I kind of think is on purpose because he doesn't really know, but he also then remembers everything about his
yeah,
upbringing.
it's just a little weird to me
Yeah.
at times. But
Yeah.
I like the gore.
Yeah. It's fun.
I like immortal stuff.
Yeah. But yeah. So let's hop into the main topic. Comic book investing, is it for you? Just kind of wanted to talk about the aspects of collecting comic books, whether you are planning them as an investment or not, just the physical aspect of collecting them, storing them, holding them. They do hold value. So in
When to
some ways,
sell them.
when to sell them, how to sell them, what to expect. It's not like you are buying a stock. It's not like you are buying Bitcoin. You are buying a physical object that someone then also has to put value on. So just because it is worth something does not mean it is actually
Worth something.
right, until someone else purchases it from you because they view it is worth what you are selling it for. So, Murphy, you went and you've been down a road selling a collection for about 8 to 6 months now. 6 to 8 months now. Do you want to kind of get into how that started, what that's been like?
So really, the way I got introduced to it and like got onto this, I guess you could call it a project, is the need for help. The guy that I'm selling with, Mark, he just could not even fathom where to start because he's been collecting comics since the late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
And he didn't stop buying until 2010.
That's
So he just had
Did
a
he say
lot of
why he
comics.
stopped? Ever?
And he stopped just because, he wasn't enjoying it as much anymore.
Okay. All right. I was just
After
curious.
as long as, like, he and I talked about that today. It's
Yeah.
like after he had bought them for so long, it just didn't, reading them,
Well, that's
especially
like,
in that form, lost some of the,
yeah.
I
That's
guess,
50 years
value.
though.
Yeah. He says he still keeps up with, like, trades and things like that, but at 64 years old now,
Right.
like, he likes that they're making movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He likes seeing the stories in different ways than individual issues of comic books.
Yeah. No, that's
And
fair.
also then he stopped because he lugged, I can't even tell you how many long and short boxes around for, a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's moved 4 times with this
Oh, jeez.
entire collection almost.
Yeah. That's probably the worst part about moving is having my
Yeah.
comic book collection.
Yeah, comic books, and for me also records.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think it's annoying to move around my, like, 8 long boxes.
Yeah.
It gotta be insane to move around as many as he's gone through.
Yeah. I mean, that's collecting for 50
Yeah.
years. You accumulate some.
Yeah, a couple.
Did he
No, so
ever
I
go
got-
into like getting a storage unit, or was it always?
No, it's always just been where he's at.
Because I've been thinking about that recently. But is it
Yeah,
worth
no,
it? Kind of a thing.
that's
But then
not for me.
Yeah. I'm not
I've
there
rented
yet.
a storage unit for other things before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it to, hold my comic books.
It also, but some of them come with insurance though.
Yeah.
Which is.
Yeah, you can get temperature controlled and all that stuff. But no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking into. I have a friend who works for his dad as a carpenter, and they're building somebody a display / storage unit that's basically a piece of furniture.
Huh.
And he's got something like 40,000 comics.
Oh wow.
And so I was talking to him about what they're doing, and like almost just like a miniature version of what he's working on right now.
That's
because like you go to like a comic book store,
right?
Like, and they have those drawer sets that hold like long boxes worth of comics, and
right?
so
Like
that's
a
kind
Phantom.
of what I'm looking.
Yeah.
So
those
that's
are cool.
kind of what I'm looking into.
That would be cool.
It's just about having the space for it.
Absolutely. That's
and it being stackable.
Right. Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, so I had gotten into this project just sheerly on the fact that he was looking at too many comics for him to understand where to start.
Right.
And then there's me, and I like to press and clean comics too, so like-minded individuals.
Right.
So, yeah. It's been a learning tool for me too. I know how to I see where we've had trouble with things, and now I know how to better keep my own collection in case, I'm never going to sell it, but like if my kids were to sell it, like it would be easier.
Pay for your funeral expenses.
Yeah, right? It could. It probably could.
It absolutely could. Well, with inflation, who knows how much funeral prices will be by then. But so what were some of the biggest hurdles? What are some of the hardest parts of selling?
So where we're at now is more of a trying to get rid of it all sort of deal.
Okay.
Like when the project first started, we wanted to catalog everything.
Right.
and then press and clean everything. Like I would do the
Wow,
pressing and
that's a
cleaning,
lot.
and then, well, not. So we were gonna
Not every
catalog
book.
everything,
Yeah.
press and clean like all the minor and major keys,
Right.
and then get them graded and sell them on eBay. Or I had also looked at short stacked.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've used that.
as like a way to sell them. But then we realized that, like, especially recently when we have finished cataloging, um, there's like 5,000 keys,
Wow.
like major and minor combined. So the
Right.
minors, even though it's Detective Comics' first appearance of Jason Todd, second Killer Croc, that doesn't mean it's worth anything. That is still only worth like $5. So
Right.
what we were gonna do, because depending on the age of the comic, it can take multiple days to press. It's like if we're looking at 5,000 and each one needs at least like say 2 days, average 2 days per comic. Like that's 10,000 days with
Right,
my
I know, because I
single
was gonna say
press.
you're not finishing that, Murphy.
Yeah. So then we're looking at we looked at buying more presses,
Yeah.
but presses are expensive too, and
Right.
they take space. And as much as I would love to make, my money pressing comic books, it's not where I'm at right now. So
No.
he can't justify spending, $500, $600 getting 3 more presses,
Right.
and then it started to not make sense to do it that way. So we've had some success though with the first round that we did that way, and today what we did was we went to Three Rivers Comic Con here in
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, and we started talking to vendors,
Okay.
and basically we went to any vendor who had comics similar to what he collected. So like there was one guy who only had like 40s through 60s. That's not the collection we're dealing with. We're dealing with
Right.
like 70s to 2010.
After, yeah.
Yeah, so we found anyone who was dealing in somewhat modern
That makes sense.
to Silver Age, and we kind of just asked them, like, what are they buying? Collections? Are they buying specifically large collections? And then like how they make their money on it. So what are they looking for in terms of the collection?
Right, because you have to offer it to them at a price where they can make money on it.
Yeah, and then we also did decide, I get my payment in comic books, so I'm gonna get to go check out what I want,
Of course.
and I'll pay like fair value for some of it, probably get some of it as compensation.
Right.
But we'll still probably, since there are multiples of so many comics, because he also bought as an investor.
Oh, okay.
So
Because he bought multiples, right?
He has like 6 number ones for certain stuff, like
Right.
So we're still gonna take a few of those out of the collection and continue to do them the way we've been doing them, by me pressing, cleaning, and sending
the ones
off
where
to CGC.
you can get the most value out of.
Yeah, and even our threshold for those is going to be like probably 300 to 350.
Yeah. So nothing
once they're
below
graded.
that value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
I think that
we've had
makes
to
sense.
change things up as we've gone through this process, but
Right.
it's getting to a close. I was definitely interested in finding out how people pay for, like what people pay for when they buy a collection that large.
Yeah, so what did you learn there?
So first off, like I talked to stores in Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
and their model was pretty much, you bring it in small batches at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and by small I mean like 6 long boxes and 4
Yeah.
short
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
Still a lot of comics.
Something a shop can get through within a week or something.
Yeah, and so they basically told me to bring them in small chunks like that. That the keys, we couldn't have them separated anymore. We'd have to put them into the collections. Um, but that then they would look through, pick out what they think they could make good money on,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because every
then
shop knows their customers and what they're looking for. Like whether you have a bunch of Batman fans or Spider-Man fans, or if they have a market and customers for the books that they are planning on purchasing.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
also with eBay, a lot of stores are doing that too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like I've caught a few like single store exclusive variants, things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah, so basically they would pick out what they could make money on. One store called it their tiny little gems.
Right.
Um, and then they would pay half of that in store credit
Okay.
and then, a little bit less as a check. So selling like to stores that's how it was going to be broken down.
Store credit and a check.
Store credit or a check,
Or a
but the
check.
check
Okay.
is less than the
Right.
store
Sure.
credit, and the store
Sure.
credit is 50% of what they can make from that small little chunk you bring in.
Right.
But today, the dealers I was talking to who are, dealing in bulk,
Right.
like they are dealing in the fact that they're going to put, if there's 5,000 keys in this collection and 10,000 non-keys or 15,000, like they're going to throw those 15,000 comic books in a long box open, put a 25-cent sticker on it,
Right.
and
Right. Call it
it's
a day.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they were telling me that they basically want to make back probably 75% of their investment within 6 months.
Yep. Yeah.
So they need to know the keys, and the keys be worth pretty much what they paid.
Right.
And they're not waiting around for it to like be hot or
No,
anything like that.
no.
They're looking for the collection to contain like universally sought after issues.
Right. Because I mean, the cash flow in comic book
Like a
stores can
Hulk
be really
181
tight.
or
Yeah.
something like that,
Because they have to order books like 3 months out. So the cash flow in a comic shop is very tight and very hard to just write the big check.
Yeah.
So
So we talked to probably 8 vendors today. Or probably 10 vendors. 2 or 3 of them just simply said not interested. Like they were like, we don't have the space, we don't have the people, we don't have we just don't deal in that volume, stuff like that.
Right. And I think we are definitely in a buyer's market right now.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. But so we got a couple answers like that. Then we had a couple people they flat out asked what he was asking for.
Right.
And he started high.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about basically close to 20,000.
20,000 for the collection.
Yeah, for the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people were starting to we went with sheets too, like an Excel spreadsheet.
Right. Yeah, that's smart.
Everything.
That's smart because then it's searchable.
Everything.
It's yeah.
So everything was broken down by whether it was a key, not a key, major key, issue, date, all that stuff.
Right.
And people definitely appreciated that, which I think added to the value.
Mm-hmm.
Because the collection is in order. It's in
Right. And that
alphabetical order, and it's
there
all
is value in
catalog.
that. There is value in that.
Yeah.
A shop will be, I don't know, 20, 30% more likely to take your boxes if they are like that. And you have a
One
digital catalog. What?
one guy told me that basically just having it alphabetized and bagged and boarded,
Yeah.
he'll pay like 20% more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I figured. Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
just he's like, if it's cataloged and the boxes are numbered
Yep.
and everything's, you know, easy to get to, he was like, I'll pay you just for the convenience.
Right. Because then he doesn't have to pay somebody to do it, to get it
He
there.
just has to go and make sure that things are actually there,
Right.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they don't care if everything's perfect as long as the keys are.
Right.
The expensive stuff is there, then they're going to have an easy time making money out of it.
Absolutely.
But so yeah, it was a very interesting experience. We ended up getting probably 6 business cards out of the 10 we talked to.
Nice.
Most of them were based outside of Pittsburgh,
Okay. So then shipping would be an issue.
which then adds in the
Yeah.
how to get them all there.
Right.
Because one guy basically told me he was based in Baltimore,
Right.
and he said that it costs him $250 in gas one way to bring the truck that he has to bring.
Yep.
So, and that's like some of them were telling me they take 3 trips to pick up a collection sometimes.
Damn.
Like one guy from Cleveland said it took him 3 trips to get a collection from Pittsburgh one time. So once you start dealing with the loss that they're looking at from just collecting it, like picking it up,
Yeah. Right.
like that starts factoring in. So we're definitely looking into, closer to home people to move this collection. So then that basically narrowed it down to 2 people, or like 2 stores
Okay.
that were interested. And so then now we have to have them come out and look at it sometime this week.
Cool.
It was like speed dating.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really was.
Who's interested in this speed dating for a comic book
It's
collection?
like, hey, I was just wondering, do you buy big collections?
Yeah.
I
mean, I feel like most stores would for the right price, but
yeah, it has to be the right price.
Yeah.
There was one guy, one of the Pittsburgh-based guys. He was like, "Look, I might not have the money to buy it, but he was like, that doesn't mean I won't." He was like, I will, talk to other people I know and start getting people involved and see if I can get other people to put up the money. He's like, so, if you ask 15,000, he was like, I might ask you if I can pick it up in $5,000 increments over X amount of time. He's like, or I might say, I'm gonna give you, $8,000.
Yeah.
And then this guy's gonna give you $8,000.
Right.
And I'm gonna take all the Marvel. He's gonna take all the DC, and we'll split the independents.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But yeah, so a lot of it came down to the money, and I mean, Mark knows what his stuff is worth.
Right.
I mean, we sold one comic on eBay for $1,000.
Right, the Doctor Strange book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got 4 more issues of it.
Really?
Yeah, he's got 4 more copies of it.
Dang.
So he knows that there's something to be made.
Right, absolutely.
And we also realistically know that they have to, make something out of it as well.
Right.
Then another big thing comes down to whether everything's graded,
Sure.
selling ungraded books is not the same as selling a graded book.
No, but when selling to shops and places, I have been told that they prefer raw.
Yes, because then they can get it graded
Right.
to make more money out of it.
Right.
Yeah, like they basically said they asked like our general like amateur opinion on what we would grade the keys at.
Yeah.
And I told them like pretty conservatively nothing's under a 9.0, which I do feel is, other than some of the keys that were like never bagged and boarded.
Right.
Like everything's been kept pretty well. So I would say nothing's under a 9.0.
Right.
So yeah, they asked us kind of what we thought they would be graded at, but then a lot of them were saying that they don't even want to deal with getting things graded anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense
because
too.
of how long the turnaround time is.
Right. And then that's more money. That's the cash flow thing again. That's tying up money in a cash flow for. So yeah, it's only what, like $35 to get one graded? Something like that?
Like 20.
20?
20 or 24 now.
But you're probably not sending one. You're probably sending in a dozen as a store.
Yeah.
And so times
that. And then
that
if you don't have your own pressing stuff,
right,
you're spending another, I think, $14 to $18 on it.
Right. And so that adds up, and that's cash flow that's just gone out of the store for a while.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was very interesting to hear all their things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know, again, I learned how to keep my collection better.
So yeah, so what are you doing now?
Well, I mean, it was some stuff that you and I have already done, and it's how we organize them and things like that. I would say, number one, I am definitely going to keep everything organized.
Yes. It makes things so much easier. It is a pain.
I'm talking down to spacers between the A's and the B's,
Yep.
Or a marker to say this is where.
Oh, I have a divider for each title.
See, I'm not that far yet. Like I've got dividers for major titles,
right?
Like beginning and end of major titles, right. And letters. But once I get a little bit more, once I had probably 2 more long boxes, I was planning to break every title up.
Here's a tip: sticky notes. So just write the title at the top, and then just stick it on one of the corners, and then But then I took that, and BCW makes plastic ones with like little white bars on the top. And then I print out, I'm super OCD about organizing my comics. I have a label maker, and I print out the title with a label maker, and then I stick it on there.
Yeah, so I think that I need to move to BCW, like the plastic bins.
Yeah.
More than anything, because that's better than all my cardboard.
Yeah, and you do get it. At least on Amazon, that's where I typically get them.
Like a deal, right?
Yeah, they do just add them, and then whenever they come up on sale every once in a while, the 5-packs, and so you get a discount buying them in the 5-pack, and then when that goes on sale is when I usually buy one set of 5.
That's like a huge discount.
Yeah, and then you get this big box on your doorstep, and then your significant other will be like, "What did you order now?" And you're like, "Boxes." Just boxes for comics.
It's a box full of boxes.
It's a box full of boxes. But
yeah, so
they are very nice. They are very nice, and they stack.
Yeah, that's the most important thing about any of this is stackable.
And then they have index card slots in the side, so you can put. There, I have like the letters, like A to B. Yeah. So I have the publisher, because I have them organized by publisher and then by title.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say, is keeping them separated by publisher specifically, just because of the fact that Like
There's
the
yeah,
one dealer said, he was like, I'm going to probably have to break this up with another vendor
right,
who wants more Batman.
right,
So he'll buy DC because he wants Batman,
right,
but I want Marvel, so I'll buy Spider-Man.
right. And so if
You
you have
know,
four of
like
these if you have 40 of these boxes, and someone tells you, "Oh, I just want the DC stuff," how long is it going
yeah,
to take you to separate out the DC stuff? That's a long
exactly.
time. So just keeping it, maintaining it in this order, I feel like is the most uh, efficient way.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the collection I've been dealing with. Why it's been frustrating at times is that like cataloging it, there is no rhyme or reason to the organization.
Right, right.
He like there were times where he was meticulous and like detective or action comics, both of them
Yeah,
in order
yeah,
completely. And then there were other times that they were some were facing one way while the next one was facing the other way, and then like 30 of them wouldn't have any sort of organization. They'd all be the same title, but it would go like 1, 2, 7, 9, 15, 4,
oh geez.
like all that. So that's my biggest thing is moving forward. I was already pretty not OCD, but pretty hardcore about how I kept everything.
Right.
And now from now on, I'm gonna be OCD about it.
Yep, yep.
And then also, running like keeping a running tally. CLZ Comics is great.
Yeah, that
Um,
is. And whenever I'm in the store and I see something, and I can just be like, "Wait, did I have that one? Do I have that?" And then I can pull up CLZ and I can see if I have it.
so keeping organized, keeping cataloged
Even with
up to
trades, it
date.
helps with trades a lot too, because I scan in my trades, and it helps me remember which one I'm on.
Yeah. See, I still don't do much with trades. Like I buy bigger than trade
Yeah, like the omnibus
if
or
I'm
the
buying
yeah,
collected stuff like the Marvel Epic collections or
yeah, the invincible
omnibuses,
compendiums.
Invincible Compendium, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I, I still generally do single issue.
I just find they're such a pain to hold.
I love them.
It's just
I
so
just love them
heavy.
so much. I just love them so much. And dude, the Invincible Compendium #1 was so heavy.
I know, that's what
Like
I'm saying.
I had to like roll it back at one point. I was like, my goodness. I had to use a table to support it. Like I couldn't just like lay back in bed.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's very
Courtney
inconvenient.
dropped one on her foot.
Oh
It was
no.
hilarious.
Was there blood?
No,
Okay.
it didn't break anything, luckily. No, but she was like, what is it? Whoa, boom. And you just hear this big thud. I was like, oh, sorry.
Oh
So
man.
it was just a bunch of comic books. But no, so that's going to be the big thing is keeping everything organized
Right.
because what takes you a little bit of time now is
Right.
going to be worth all that time to somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is time you are
And people
investing.
are willing to pay, time is
Right.
money.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
are going to be willing to pay you more money
Absolutely.
for your collection, to turn this investment,
Yeah.
into money. It's going to be
It
what you
creates
do
it
now.
a little more liquid. It makes it a little more liquid.
Yeah.
Because you can be like, "Oh, I want to sell my comic book collection. I know I'm not going to get full value because I'm selling it as a collection, but how do I make the most out of that? It's having it in order because yeah, like we said, when you hand it off to the next person, they want it in order. They want it organized.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're willing to do it the other way, but they definitely don't want to pay as much for it.
yeah. It's kind of like the cherry on top. It's like I have this collection. They're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then you're like, "It's in order, organized." And they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, wait."
the amount of people who were like, oh, do you want to buy a collection? There's probably like 15 to 20,000 comics,
Mhm.
like ranging from this time, and they're all
Mhm.
like, and then Mark would go into his bag and pull out like these are the keys and drop like a 20-page stack
Yeah.
And he's like, and here's all the other comics, like, and then people's eyes lit up.
Yeah.
They're like, wait,
They're like,
what? And
oh,
we're
I
like,
can do
yes, we
something
have.
with this.
It's all organized. It's all in alphabetical order.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, and like it's definitely a good way to make this investment work better.
Yeah.
It's what you do now
Right.
is what's going to make it, like, just having that comic that's worth money isn't the same.
No. Because, I mean, what's the quickest way to sell it? Sell it on eBay for singles? Like single
Yeah.
issues? Selling it on eBay? eBay's taking what, a 13% cut?
12.9.
12? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and also, I don't know about other sites, but eBay doesn't take their 12.9% out of the sale price.
right.
They take it out of the sales and shipping.
Right.
So they add as much money on as they can before taking their 12.9%.
Yep.
Like that new Avengers for Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Final sale price was like $9.65.
Uh-huh.
And then we were sending it pretty far with some insurance.
Sure.
It was $10.25.
That's not bad.
$1,025 sale price with the shipping and insurance, and then eBay, after eBay took their money, we got $8.75.
Yep.
So we lost over $100,
right,
easy,
just by using eBay.
Yeah, like $150 to
yep.
eBay.
Yep. But you're paying for the convenience of eBay finding you a buyer.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've looked, like I said earlier, I had looked into other options for selling. Like Whatnot's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Short Stacked is, Whatnot seems like more of a community based thing.
Yeah, it's big in cards too.
Yeah, it's like everything I've seen about it is just collectibles in general.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I haven't given it enough of a look through, but every time I see anything on Whatnot, a stream, someone talking about it, something inside me cringes up. It just.
Hey man, we talked about it on one of these past podcasts. Like,
did we?
That's where all the big, comic, like, content creators are selling books
on Whatnot.
Yeah, like every Wednesday is Whatnot Wednesdays, and there's like a whole lineup of claim sales and auctions.
Interesting.
So like, I always follow Gem Mint Collectibles and Comic Com and Nerdy Girl Comics, and all three of them, like Gem Mint is 3 to 4 auctions, or like PM auctions. Then somebody else from 4 to 5, somebody else from 5 to 6. Like it's a whole day's worth.
So what you're saying is we need TTP comic book auctions.
We need to have a lot of comics worth a lot of money.
All right, you got homework, Murphy. Figure out what we got to do, because we have a lot of comics that are worth a lot of money.
Also, we'd probably need followers.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a thing.
Well, so it's like become huge as a community.
Right.
I don't know what percentages they take of anything, but then there's Short Stacked, which is just an app, and it seems a little bit more for collectors who know what they're looking for.
Right.
Than, just like Joe Schmo who wants to buy the first appearance of something,
Right. There's also a lot of
they only take 10%.
Right. There's also a lot of discords in the card world with people that buy and sell, like, person to person, but there's a lot of trust involved in that, and it can get shady and it's risky. But I wonder if there's comic book versions. I'm sure there is a comic book Discord.
Craigslist comic book.
Craigslist scares me. Craigslist scares me. I've been messing around with Facebook Marketplace, but I feel like that's very limited too.
Yeah, yeah. My dad sells bees on Facebook Marketplace.
Really? How's that go?
Better than I thought.
Yeah.
Not as well as hoped.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. High expectations,
So
but was not
yeah.
disappointed.
So a big, just in general though, to sum that up, is like a big part of where you sell or how you sell comics is not only what you're selling, but where you're selling it.
Absolutely.
And then my biggest last point that I wanted to make is when to sell.
Right. Yeah.
And like we live in a world where these movies and shows are coming out like what? We're gonna have Miss Marvel coming up and then She-Hulk
Yep.
and that, it's continuous now at this
All
point.
the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, especially for Marvel's side of things, like they're just crushing TV and movies.
Right.
Like with good content that has revitalized this market to a certain degree, especially since COVID,
Right.
because we got Endgame and then COVID started and people were like, let me spend my money.
Yep. But now
so
people are like, let me not spend money.
People are still spending that money.
Yes, they are. If they can. I think there are still a lot of people doing that, just not as many.
Honestly, this would be when we plug our cryptocurrency. Like
the TTP coin.
You know what I mean? It's like yeah, if they have the money to spend by investing today in this product.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
But no, it's a lot about what's coming out and when to sell it. Like the new Avengers #7 that we sold for almost $1,000. I timed it out so that the auction ended the day that Doctor Strange was coming out in theaters because we knew the Illuminati were coming.
Right.
So you want to build that hype, like as people are getting excited for the movie, as people are getting ready to buy their tickets, and then once they've seen it too, you want to have some people having seen it before the action is even done.
Right. Right.
So a big part of making this hobby liquid will be
when do you have eyeballs looking for that? Like, yes, you have a book that's worth money, but when are the eyeballs looking for that book?
Yeah, now certain things, like a Spider-Man.
Yeah, right. There's people always looking.
Time. Yeah, there's not a bad time. Your action comics, your detective comics,
right.
Your Spider-Man, Avengers 2, like things like that. Like, there's never a bad time. But I'd say specifically with independent stuff, newer things like that, you're gonna want to time it out. Like, Something is Killing the Children is worth a lot right now, #1.
Right.
But once that show is actually happening, that price is going to skyrocket.
Right.
And you can't wait too long to sell it, and you can't, like with things that are newer to pop culture, you can't wait too long, you can't do it too early.
Right.
If you want to maximize your investment in it.
Right.
But with Marvel and DC and stuff like that, like
you'll have multiple opportunities, I feel.
You'll have plenty of times.
Yeah.
Like the Illuminati, I think were like a one-off. I don't think that these books will spike again.
Right.
No, I'm not a professional, but like I don't think that those books will spike again for like the Illuminati's sake. But like House of M was part of this,
Right.
Part of this Doctor Strange spike. And then it could be again. Like if it actually happens.
Right, right.
If they actually did a House of M movie or something like that.
That would be wild.
it could, it could
Yeah.
easily spike again. We've got Secret Invasion coming up. Like, I'm still sitting on a 9.8 Secret Invasion #1.
Right.
Just to, see what happens with it. And then you got Daredevils who, it comes and goes.
All the
like,
yeah, but I mean all
Daredevil
the
comics spiked when they said he was going to be in Far From Home.
right.
It wasn't even a Daredevil movie.
No.
And what, he was in it for one scene as Matt Murdock?
Yep.
And people were like, take it all, take my money.
Yep. Yep.
So
I mean, all the early Zdarsky Daredevils, like, pretty expensive now.
Yeah.
And that was like a year and a half ago. 2 years ago.
Right. 2 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's a lot about being smart to make this investment worthwhile.
Right.
When you do it, how you do it, how you keep it. Like, to sum it up, basically, like, sell when it makes sense, I guess is the easiest way to say it. When there's a movie coming out or a show coming out, or
when it's hot.
Yeah. Keep everything organized.
So you can get to
break it down by publishers, break it down by issue, all that stuff. And, also don't be afraid to go ask around if people are buying, because people are buying.
Yeah.
I was very confused going into today how we were going to go to a convention based around selling stuff and try to get people to buy.
Well, I mean, you kind of have the people there that would be the customers, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, some people said, absolutely not, we're not looking for that. And then other people showed a lot of interest. So,
yeah.
It's just about going out there and trying to find out what it's worth to people.
Yeah. Because one thing that...
We're being prepared for 13% to eBay.
Right. Right. But yeah, you have to be prepared to understand that understand that the value you've put on your collection may not be the value that someone else would put on that collection. And even if
they do, they can't pay you that.
Right.
The only times you can't sell a collection like that. You can sell individual issues.
Right.
Like that. Like selling a 9.8 anything, boom, there's a value.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But selling like a raw collection, they have to be able to make something out of it themselves.
Yes.
Especially selling to a store.
Because it's investment for them too. It's an investment in inventory.
Yeah.
That they're going to sit on most of that for years. So like you said earlier, they're definitely looking to make back most of their investment within a couple months.
Hey, Tommy, I think I could get us a discount on this collection if you want to just start that store now. we got inventory, dude.
I know, but no, I already have inventory. I have like over 5,000 books.
I'm pushing.
What?
We get a storefront.
No, but that's
TTP.
the thing. That's the thing, though, is like my collection. When I want to let it go is when I do open a store.
When you open.
Then
I'm still in, but I'm just saying, look, if you got a quick, like, I could probably get us down to 10 grand. Like, you got a cool 5 G's laying around, I'll find 5 G's, and we got a whole bunch of comics.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that, but it's that then the question becomes the space of where we are putting these.
Guardian storage.
What?
Guardian storage.
Yeah.
We'll just bring it all full circle. Get that storage locker. It's all good.
Sell it out of the storage locker.
Yeah, like back alley deals. Come on over here.
Behind the 7-Eleven.
Like, there's gonna be like a flickering light above the storage unit, so it looks real creepy.
Well, we ventured a little off the rails, but essentially what we're trying to get at, the point here, is investing in comic books is a lot of fun and can be a great hobby, but just realize that when it is not as liquid as other investments, and there's a lot of work that goes into actually selling it. So we talked about some ways to make that work a little easier for yourself down the road, by keeping things organized, keeping things cataloged, and doing it in chunks so you're not overwhelmed and look at it and just never get around to doing it because it's too intimidating. But yeah, and it's not right for everyone. But if it's right for you, I think you should know or figure that out from this discussion of whether that's something you might be interested in or not.
So you don't have to do it.
What?
You don't have to sell. You know, my kids are going to have to deal with this thing. Like, that's what I know. You know, I'm going to keep on buying my comics and then make someone else deal with it.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is with the idea of opening a store is then it seems silly to then have a collection when I have a store, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, then at that point, well, that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, that's
What we could do if we had a comic book store. Oh man, imagine the cards flowing through there too, Tommy. Oh my goodness.
I know, Murphy. I've had
make
discussions.
It rain on me. Make it rain. It's fun.
The dream come true. The ideal dream is a 2-story store, like somewhere in the city. 2-story.
First, so you got big dreams.
First floor is a coffee shop.
Well, that's
second floor is a comic book store.
And then you go upstairs to buy your stuff, then go downstairs to read or play.
Yep.
Yeah, I get it. That's a good idea.
Yep. Now, one day it'll happen. Well, anything else you want to talk about before?
No, I think I've droned on enough.
Cool.
Selling this comic book collection.
Yeah. Good luck with finishing that. Yeah, so this past week we put out some videos. We put out our top 5. Our next top 5 will come out on Tuesday. Don't forget to comment your favorite for your top pick for the week so you can enter in to win that 200 sub giveaway. And we did our market update, and the Uprising spoilers have started for Flesh and Blood's new set. So John and I put out a video going over the first part, and I'm sure we will be putting out more this week going over the rest of it, because there's more stuff out now as of Sunday. We may wait till Monday. We'll see. And yeah, that about wraps it up. Expect similar stuff this upcoming week. More spoilers, another market update. The market update should be interesting this week. Comics, top 5. And this might be the last podcast before we hit 200. So get your comments in, because at 200 it stops. So, Murphy, thank you for joining me. And
of course,
until next week, we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.